Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. It's Friday, January 15th. Thanks for being here to get filled in on your top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. I started off with news out of Washington, D.C. The officer who we saw in those very difficult to watch videos face down on the steps being beaten and dragged by rioters is now speaking out about his experience. His D.C. police officer, Mike Fanone, and he says he was not even assigned to be in the Capitol that day. He said he walked into the office, he grabbed his partner, Jimmy Albright, and he said, "Suit up, we are going into this situation." He said while he was being dragged and beaten, he wondered if his 4 daughters would be okay without him, as he was tasered and also suffered a heart attack while he was being attacked. He said he told his partner, Albright, "Suit up, we're going down there," and he had not even taken his riot gear out of the package that he had been assigned it in a decade ago, but he put it on, and he said another person in the office had to tell him to take the price tags off of the gear. So when he got there, he said he quickly found someone who was recovering from being gassed, and then he also saw the officer who was being wedged between doors before he was dragged off of the line into the crowd. He said while he was out there, people were grabbing things off of his vest, and he remembers people chanting, "Kill him with his own gun." The officer said he thought quickly and he held on to the gun. He said he thought about retaliating with force, but then he thought better of it. He said he would probably, in his quote, "shoot a couple and then they're going to take my gun away and kill me." He said what happened in that moment is he started shouting, "I have kids," to the rioters, and some of them showed mercy, which he is thankful for. But he said the only person that he credits with saving his life is Jimmy Albright, his partner, who is the person who pulled him back into the hallway away from that riotous mob on Wednesday, January 6th, just over a week ago. If you want to read that account, that's up on WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Now, as the nation continues to grapple with this, and of course we are hearing warnings about armed demonstrations that are planned to be carried out throughout the weekend and on January 20th, we're now learning that President Donald Trump plans to leave Washington, D.C. on Wednesday morning before the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden. Now, we already knew previously that the president had said that he did not plan on attending the inauguration, but now we are learning from someone who spoke on the condition of anonymity, because they have not formally announced these plans yet, that Trump is planning to be sent off with a departure ceremony at Joint Base Andrews, and that officials are considering it to be an elaborate event. They're looking at the feel of a state visit, sort of a red carpet situation with the color guard, military band, and a 21-gun salute all being discussed. As of now, it appears the president will head to Florida after his term ends on January 20th. At noon. Well, in the morning, he'll already be heading to Florida, and then we'll consider what he does next from there. Here in Ohio, we still feel the impact of what happened in Washington, D.C. Cuyahoga County's non-essential employees will be sent home early on Friday. They have already been sent home early. Starting at 1 p.m., county buildings will remain open, though, with the bare minimum people in attendance in order for operations to continue to run. Now, the reason for this, according to the county, is to help clear out the downtown area in case any demonstrations take place, and also to give protesters the space to exercise their right to demonstrate. As I said, the FBI has warned at armed protest planned at almost every state capital. That does include Columbus in the days leading up to the inauguration. Also, the city of Cleveland has decided to close City Hall and downtown buildings beginning today, and they will remain closed through Wednesday, January 20th. This will impact both essential and non-essential office personnel. Now, city employees who can work from home will be required to do so in order to keep continuity of business operations, but critical and emergency responders are expected to report to work as scheduled, so those critical personnel will be in the city of Cleveland area. Also in Cuyahoga County, the stay-at-home COVID-19 advisory has been extended now to January 31st. This is because we are continuing to see a rapid rise of COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations, according to the county. Now, the stay-at-home advisory this time was issued on November 18th, and as a reminder, it does ask all residents of Cuyahoga County to stay home, avoid heading out for unnecessary trips, and those who live within Cuyahoga County are strongly advised not to host guests in their home and also avoid traveling out of the state. With that, let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers here in Ohio, in from the Ohio Department of Health. The total number of new reported cases in the last 24 hours has been 7,149. And here in Ohio, we are now well over 800,000 total cases that have been reported since March 9th of 2020. That total number is now at 814,442. In the last 24 hours, 67 people have been reported to have died due to COVID-19. That brings Ohio's death toll now over 10,000. That number, 10,057 to be exact. When we take a look at the COVID-19 testing that's being done, the latest daily positive rate we have comes from Wednesday, and that's 10.2% of the tests coming back positive. The 7-day average is now at 12%. In the last 24 hours, 316 more people have been admitted to the hospital to be treated for COVID-19, and the total number of people in the hospital right now being treated for COVID is 3,793. That's up a few from yesterday. The total number of those people in the ICU getting treatment is 945. That is down a few from yesterday. We've seen 39 new ICU admissions in the last 24 hours, and across the state, 27% of our hospital beds are available for people who need treatment. Now let's take a look at the national and the global numbers related to COVID-19. The U.S. is now over 23 million reported cases, according to Johns Hopkins University. That number, 23,395,418. The total number of deaths in the U.S. is now at 390,195. If we take a look at where that stands from yesterday, that's 4,001 new deaths reported from this time yesterday to this afternoon today. The U.S. did report its highest number of COVID-19 deaths in one day on Tuesday. That number was 4,327, according to Johns Hopkins University. And as I said yesterday, over the past week, the U.S. has averaged more than 3,300 deaths every day, which is a jump of more than 217% from mid-November. I say this to remind you all that while we are all very tired of COVID-19, we are very much in the most dangerous period for the virus. That's according to medical health professionals. We have 4% of the global population here in the U.S., but we've got 25% of the global COVID cases and 19.5% of the global COVID deaths, which are numbers that have stayed steady from yesterday. Now, globally, the total number of cases is at 93,518,182, and unfortunately, globally, the total number of deaths is now over 2 million. That number, 2,002,468. Now, today, President-elect Joe Biden is expected to outline his plan for getting the COVID-19 vaccine to the public, and it is an aggressive plan. His goal is to administer 100 million COVID-19 vaccines by the 100th day of his administration. To give you an idea of where we stand so far, according to vaccine tracking from the New York Times, so far, about 30.6 million COVID vaccine doses have been distributed. So they've gotten to the states. But only about 11,149,000 vaccine doses shots have actually been given. That's in 30 days. So in 30 days, there's been about 11,149,000 shots given. Biden wants to do 100 million shots in 100 days. So that's obviously a big increase in the rollout. He's scheduled to speak about that today at 3:45 Eastern. Here's what he tweeted today. He says, "My administration will move heaven and earth to allow more people to get vaccinated, create more places for them to get vaccinated, mobilize more medical teams to get shots in arms, increase vaccine supply, and get it out the door as soon as possible." Something else announced today is that former FDA Chief David Kessler will be the Chief Science Officer for the vaccine push. Kessler has been advising Biden as a co-chair of his advisory board on the pandemic. He's a pediatrician and an attorney, and what he is emphasizing is the need to ease public concern about the safety of the vaccines. Confidence in the FDA's review process, he says, is critical to ramping up the effort to get these vaccines out to Americans at the rates that Biden hopes to do in the first 100 days of his presidency. Yesterday, Joe Biden announced his American Rescue Plan, and what he includes in that, this is that additional round of COVID-19 relief he had planned, are $1,400 checks and a $15 federal minimum wage. This is a $1.9 trillion package. It's a hefty package, and Biden did say yes, He understands that this will cost a lot, but he also said that the cost of not doing it would be far greater. So in addition to the $1,400 checks, which some people are taking issue with because Biden promised $2,000, but other people are saying the $600 stimulus checks that people received in December plus the $1,400 amounts to the 2000s, and that's what he was saying. So in addition to that, the plan also calls for $400 in extra federal unemployment benefits per week through September. Right now that number is at $300. That's been extended through March. And a hold on evictions and foreclosures through September, in addition to adding in that increase in the federal minimum wage to $15, which has long been a Democratic priority. And here's Joe Biden trying to get that passed with this COVID-19 stimulus relief. We have a more thorough breakdown up on WKYC.com if you want to read about the other things that are in the package, including the amount of aid that would be presented to small businesses, and so on and so forth. Now, here in Stark County, there is a Canton teacher who is doing what he can to help his students that have been learning remotely. John Huntsman, who is a teacher in Canton City School District, said he noticed that some of his students taking remote classes were either sitting on the floor or laying in their bed during their Zoom sessions, and he said he wanted to start making dedicated spaces for these people to learn. So he took his own money and he started making desks. And so far, he's made 11 desks for his students. He hopes to do more. He said some colleagues have also donated chairs, but he's using his own materials right now. And school officials said he's now accepting donations if you want to help him get materials together so he can make more desks for his students in the Canton City School District. We have that linked on WKYC.com if you want to check that out. Now, here's the latest news out of the Cleveland Browns organization. Today, offensive guard Joel Bitonio has been activated from the COVID-19 list. Welcome back, Joel Bitonio. Now, this is just an exceptional story for Bitonio because he was drafted by the Browns in 2014. He's the veteran on the team, and he will finally play in his first postseason game on Sunday when the Browns take on the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC divisional round at around 3 p.m. Also this week, cornerbacks Denzel Ward and Kevin Johnson were activated from the COVID-19 list, and yesterday, head coach Kevin Stefanski rejoined the team, and so did wide receiver Kaderil Hodge. And yesterday, Stefanski would have had his first opportunity to meet guard Blake Hance, who played a pivotal role in the Sunday win over the Pittsburgh Steelers on the same day that he met quarterback Baker Mayfield, already a Cleveland sports legend. You just can't make this stuff up. You just can't. And the fans are definitely excited about going to another playoff game, the AFC divisional round. So our Austin Love caught up with one of them. He goes by Danny Cleveland, and his name is Danny Reichel. But just the fact that he goes by Danny Cleveland will tell you how much of a super fan he is. He's got the victory fridge. He has brown stripes on the hood of his car. And he also has a 30-foot flag flying in his front yard. The flag, by the way, originally flew at the old municipal stadium. And he says he feels like the flag found him. He said his heart is there in that stadium. To him, he said it's more than just a game. It's a livelihood. You got to get in all the way. You can't just dip your foot in. You got to get in all the way. Here's the cool thing that he's doing with that 30-foot flag in his front yard. He says he is welcoming everyone to stop by, check it out, take a photo with it as something that came from the old municipal stadium. And he just asks if you do stop by and take a photo that you bring a canned good or a donation for the Greater Cleveland Food Bank. He's already collected more than 600 pounds of food and raised more than $2,000. Now, of course, we're talking about being COVID safe and all of these things. So he said if he's not outside, just drop the cans off or whatever you're leaving in the back of his truck, which we parked outside. And if you want to check that out, it's at West 162nd and Edgecliff in West Park. You can visit Danny Cleveland and the 30-foot flag from the old Muni Stadium. Now, as we head into the weekend and we're looking at Sunday, everybody is getting a little bit anxious. Everybody is very excited about the Browns going into the playoffs. So our Dave Chudowski talked with a sports psychologist about how to beat the mindset and have a winning mindset approaching Sunday's playoff game, not only for the players, but also for the fans. So sports psychologist Jack Lessick, who's a PhD, he's the director of the Ohio Center for Sports Psychology, he says the first thing that the players need to do, if he's given the advice, is not to over-motivate. He explains it's not necessarily productive to be saying you got to dig deep, you have to play better than you ever played before, because the players already know that. Obviously, it's a high-stakes game. He says what they need to hear is, hey, you wouldn't be here if you weren't darn good. So keep doing all of those things that have gotten you here. You're going to play a good game. That's the idea, right? We all need to remember they got here, so they obviously deserve to be here. And the doctor goes on to say that you win when you're not thinking about winning. Here's what he says. When you're thinking about each moment being the best you can be in that moment and being totally focused, there's no past and there's no future. There's only this moment as you're focused on those few things in executing a play or defending a play. Now, when it comes to the fans, what should the fans do? Here's what he says, and I love this advice. See what unfolds, be enthusiastic, savor every moment. This is really special. You're going to see some awesome football. Certainly will be an exceptional game to watch. I am very excited about it. I hope that you guys are all excited about it, you Browns fans out there. Let me know what you're doing. I want to know what your pregame superstitions are. I know you guys know that my pregame tradition is a shot of Irish whiskey, and I will absolutely be doing that again this game. Hopefully there'll be an opportunity for more shots of whiskey when the good plays start rolling out. Go Browns. Very excited about this as we head into the weekend. All right, that's it for your 3 News Now update for Friday, January 15th. I'll see you on What's New with your trending stories in the Clicking in Cleveland segment. I also have a guide to events that you can participate in to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day. That's coming up on Monday, so tune in for that. That'll be in the first half hour. Here's a reminder too. If you've got the WKYC app, which if you don't have it, it's free to download, so there's no reason not to have it. You can watch our broadcasts for free right in the app in real time. They stream live through the app as they're airing on TV. So make sure you check that out. All right, everyone, stay safe, be well, have a great weekend. Go Browns. I'm Stephanie Haney.